Today I'm delighted to be joined by Craig Moulton, the Managing Director of NickelSearch. So tell us, who is NickelSearch?
So NickelSearch is a nickel sulphide focused exploration company. We're about to list shortly. We have our Culling Up project that's located in Ravensthorpe in WA, which is a premier district for nickel sulphide exploration. Our focus is primarily on exploration, discovery of new nickel sulphide deposits, and we also have the historic RAV8 mine.
Okay, so NickelSearch is listing, as you said, on the ASX in late September or early October. What makes NickelSearch a unique investment compared with other listed nickel explorers?
So a number of things, really. We've got many facets to this business. I think firstly, I'd like to highlight that this has been held in private hands for over a decade now. So we originally owned by a company called Alpha Fine Chemicals, from which we've been demerged. And Alpha Fine Chemicals is focusing on building a nickel sulphate plant in Thailand. So it brings a package together. We've recently announced a transaction with Medallion, and that will give us the majority of the ultramafics, which are prospective for nickel in this Ravensthorpe belt that is outside of the ground owned by First Quantum. So we have a dominant land position. The company's going to have a really strong ESG focus from day one. We've got historic mine infrastructure with the RAV8 mine site. We've got a well-advanced study process looking at how we bio-leach nickel sulfides, certainly lower tenor ones. So we already have a demonstrable pathway in terms of processing the nickel. And we also have a number of both toll treatment and royalty options for some of our laterite deposits as well. So there's a lot of facets and dimensions to this business. Is quite unique.
Your flagship asset, the Culling Up Nickel project, what are the key highlights of this project?
So look, I think it's quite exciting. We already have a resource base of 171 kilotons of nickel in JORC 2012. On top of that, we have 4 advanced resource targets, being RAV1, RAV4, RAV4 West, and RAV5. These are open along strike and down dip. We've already seen a number of high-grade intercepts, so we know this is really fertile lavas that we're exploring. For example, we're seeing grades of 4 metres at over 2% and 2.5 metres at over 7.5% nickel. So it's incredibly prospective for future nickel sulphide discoveries. And even the advanced resources could equally be highly prospective for another RAV8 style mine going forward. So we've got a lot of work to do, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of exciting news flow coming from our initial journey.
Well, investors are very interested in high impact exploration. Can you tell us more about the prospectivity of your other exploration targets?
Yeah, look, certainly. We've got over 10 kilometres of strike just in our existing Culling Up project. Now, with the Medallion acquisition as well, which brings in the Ravensthorpe range and the Bandelup ultramafics along that range as well, that pretty much doubles the tenement and the prospectivity that we have. This area has seen very limited exploration for nickel sulfides. Historically, most of the work has been focused on laterite exploration. There has been some work done for nickel sulfides, but most of that drilling is less than 80 metres. So as I said before, we've got plenty of prospectivity for nickel sulfide discoveries on that basal contact. We've got a number of very exciting, encouraging lithogeochem anomalies. We've got over 45 EM targets. Plus, we've got plenty of scope for new greenfields discoveries as well. So it's all very exciting.
Mm-hmm. So what do the next 6 months look like for NickelSearch?
So the next 6 months are going to be really busy for us. Obviously, we'll be listing late September, early October. And we intend to be drilling in certainly late October, early November. We've got 2 rigs booked. We've got an RC rig and a diamond rig scheduled in. And so we'll have 2 work streams, one focused on exploration, one focused on resource development work. And the idea is that the resource development work would then feed core for the study process to kick off again in Q1 next year. So there's going to be a lot going on and a lot to talk about.
So tell me about the team and specifically about your background.
So my background, I'm a geologist. I started my career with Rio Tinto. I've worked in greenfields exploration and also worked and lived up in various mining operations. Both in Australia. I also worked for Rio Tinto's copper and nickel expansion projects. I led the exploration group for Asia Pacific for Cliffs Natural Resources for about 4 years. And most recently, I was the managing director of an LSE listed junior called Copper Resources, who had lode gold exploration projects in South Australia. But I'm also supported by a fantastic team, both including my chairman, David Royal, who's a well-credentialed geologist with over 40 years experience, including Newcrest, MIN. He set up and ran Kentall Gold. Norm Taylor, who actually facilitated the original sale of the tenements to what's now First Quantum, but was originally sold to Q&I. But also Norm has a really deep understanding and experience with the process flow sheet. Paul Bennett will join us from Medallion as part of the IPO process and the acquisition of the Ravensthorpe Range tenements. Paul's got great experience in Newcrest, Western Metals and Panoramic. Donald James also joins us. He has experience with the Kerry Stokes stable from Westrack, Parenti, and also now W. Donald brings deep experience both in terms of corporate experience, but also from a governance point of view. And then Leo Horn will be running our exploration program. And Leo, has a history of discoveries in companies such as Impact, Emu, Redback, Invictus, etc. But as importantly, brings a team of geologists and field assistants and has some drill rigs booked for us. So that's going to be a great asset in the current environment.
How do you see the clean energy transition and nickel's role in it playing into the future development of your projects?
Look, I think this is a fantastic time to be involved in nickel exploration and processing. There's no doubt about that. You just have to look at the potential increase in demand that's happening through this structural change in the economy with the energy transition, whether it's through efforts to fight climate change or through the rise of electric vehicles, but also the evolution of some of the new battery technologies, such as this potential shift to an 811 style battery. And certainly if that occurs, we'll see more nickel demand for batteries compared to the current battery chemistries. These factors are likely to drive demand moving forward, but at a time where stainless steel production is already consuming a lot of nickel, I believe we're only just starting to see this structural economic change start to bite. On top of that, there's been very limited significant nickel sulphide discoveries over the last 2 decades. So it's really hard to see how supply will keep up with demand moving forward, and this should be positive for nickel prices.
A perfect storm for NickelSearch. Well, good luck.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you for the update, and we look forward to the progress in the lead up to the listing.
Thank you, Dannika. Really appreciate your time.